Hey everybody, I wanted to come on here and talk about the problems, fractures that I have noticed in mother-daughter relationships. They are not evolving or reaching the full potential, everything that a mother-daughter relationship should consist of. For example, there should be trust in a mother-daughter relationship. There should be, once reaching a certain age, or sisterhood or womanhood connection in a mother-daughter relationship. There should be a bond. There should be upliftment, encouragement, full support, and that's just not what most daughters are experiencing from their mothers. And it's mind-boggling to me because that should be one of the greatest bonds and one of the most nurturing relationships that a person should have in their life, is that relationship with their mother. So we're seeing jealousy, sabotaging, tit for tat or rivalry, things of that sort in these mother-daughter relationships. And I blame the mothers for it, because I'm wondering how and where do you go wrong when every parent's initial thought as they have a child, raising a child, is I want this child to have a wonderful, great life. I want them to have everything I didn't have. I want them to do better than me in life. But then it just seems there's a switch off somewhere along the way where that is not these mothers' intent with their daughters. I have seen women experience their mothers try and sabotage them in love, whether the mother is single or just in a horrible relationship. They then try to inflict that on their daughters to where they don't want them to have a successful relationship or want them to be single. I've seen where mothers have tried to discourage or hinder their children from going to college, from getting great jobs, and furthering themselves in life in that way, where you would think that would be the main agenda and thing that a mother would be pushing for her daughter. I've seen where mothers have tried to compete with their daughters, are jealous of their youth, jealous of their looks and beauty, or jealous of even their friendships or their athleticism or their smartness, where they aren't there to support them in that. I have seen mothers literally try to endow their daughters to their face, talk about them, dog them out, make condescending remarks to them, all of that. And I just find it astonishing. It is just the craziest, wildest thing to me. How do I want to put this? A daughter should be able to trust her mother, know her mother has her best interests at heart. A daughter should be able to trust her feelings and emotions, her self-esteem. A daughter should be able to trust all of that with their mother, in their mother's hands, in their mother care. And these mothers are not doing it half the time. They are treating their daughters like an enemy or like a frenemy for whatever reason. And I don't understand where this comes from or why that is the case. And I want you guys to share in the comments what your relationship is with your mother. Or have you experienced any of these negative things or any of these positive, healthy, affirming things from your mother? And is that the kind of relationship you have? Or have you ever spotted or noticed maybe insecurity in your parent or jealousy in your parent that showed that they truly weren't behind you going for that job or going to college in that for that degree, or getting married, happy about the success you have maybe financially, or even your body image? Did they show any jealousy about that? Were they condescending to you? Were they verbally and mentally and emotionally abusive towards you, even physically abusive towards you. I want y'all to share and let us have this dialogue and talk, because I'm hoping that our generation and the generations after us, we can form these healthy relationships with our daughters that will promote it amongst our friends witnessing it, who are other mothers with our daughters, to where they be better mothers to their daughters. Because it's just like, normally what I'm seeing is, no, these mothers that came before us and that are out here have just done a horrible, piss poor job of representing and correctly being mothers to their daughters, because they're not like that with their boys. Most mothers with their boys is how they should have been with their daughters. They support their son at all costs, even in his bullshit. If he done wrong, they support him. They don't believe and ain't gonna stand for nobody talking down about them. They want to protect them at all costs. They want to see them succeed and do the best. They don't condescend, well, don't be condescending to their sons. They're financially supportive of their sons. Where a daughter, on the other hand, they raised her at an early age to be independent. Oh, because you're going to have to leave and get up out of here. I want you to work. You got to do these chores, cook dinners, sew, wash laundry, and all this. And they began having daughters do that at 10 to 12 years old. They began having daughters do that, where their son could be 17 and still ain't never washed a pot, still ain't never cooked a meal, ain't doing his own laundry or anything. Or they gonna throw their son the keys to the car if they don't buy him one, or if he ain't already got one. Where with their daughters don't get that same nourishment. The daughters don't get that same love and protection and loyalty. Their daughters is somewhat met with being treated like they're just another woman on the street, or just a family member, but not actually their daughter. Where their sons, they are the way that they should be with their daughters. And how can I explain this? So, oh, and then in their eyes, the son can't do no wrong, but the daughter, everything she does is wrong. Instead of supporting her at a young age, spoiling her, making her feel safe to trust you, to trust women, because that'd be the other thing. A lot of times the problems that we as women have amongst each other, as far as having a sisterhood, stems from the brokenness of our mothers not first showing us how two women should interact and love and support each other. Because that's where we learn it. Okay, a girl's father is her first example in a relationship with a man that has nothing to do with sex, offering her body or anything to him for that matter. So that's what sets the standard for her to know, I am valuable and I don't have to give up something to a man to receive his love and protection and appreciation. Where a mother with her son is the first example of a non-sexual relationship with the opposite sex. That's his a mother is her son's first girlfriend, non-sex involved. Father is his daughter's first boyfriend, non-sex involved, which is what teaches them the standard, what to expect, and how to interact with the opposite sex. Where that's another reason why a lot of these men have a lot of problems, because their mother over nurtured him, over protected and took care of him. So now he gets with women and he have a hard time adjusting, because he's used to dealing with his mother, who has always strictly catered to him and his niece, who he could do no wrong in eyesight. She praised his ego no matter how minimal it was, the way he did things like that. So their women, mothers are handicapping their sons and not preparing them to be leaders, providers, hardworking, for a woman to one day be someone's husband, a woman's husband. And then with their daughters, they are overqualifying them and forcing them to grow up fast and get out the house, instead of catering and nurturing her as a woman and in a sisterhood. So what mothers have done to their daughters is made them already at a young age not feel right that I can trust women, that I can have a close bond and relationship and transparency with another woman, because the mothers are very accusatory of their daughters. Anything the daughter do, oh, you being fast, oh, you look dressed nasty, oh, you must be a hoe, what you want to be, like everything. The interactions that they have with their daughters are very condescending, very emotionally and verbally abusive and mentally abusive. So then, or their mother already trying to compete with them. The minute that a daughter begins to bloom and hit puberty, the mother automatically, then it's like another level of a switch that goes off. Like, oh, you a woman now, you got a period now, you smelling yourself. They competing with them because they looking at themselves like, oh, okay, this daughter who's blossoming into a young woman is a reflection of my youth being gone, of me being up there in age and past my heyday. And I believe that they attack their daughters because of that. Now you have to, will feel that you have to grow her up fast, demean her, belittle her, and make her feel like something is wrong with her as a woman, while at the same time not realizing that what you're doing is creating her to have a mistrust with you as being a woman, her mother, and then with other women. Because I remember growing up, I had a mother and I had sisters, right? A lot of sisters. So I always felt like I was in a sorority, that I lived in a sorority house, and that my mother was just with the, what, mom, madam over the sorority house. But I remember as I was growing up, I looked at it as, oh, I ain't got time for females. They catty, they're mature, they be PMSing, they be bitchy, they be fake. Like, I remember growing up having all of those negative thoughts about women, and it started from when I was at home, to where then when I was out at school, I didn't really care to have female friends. I didn't trust females. I didn't feel you could confide in a female, because the minute they get upset, they want to try and air you out. And mothers will also succumb to these type of behaviors as well. So it created a bad mind frame already with how I looked at other women. And to be honest, though, in psychology, what they will let you know is, normally the way that you feel about other women, which is something that you is, deep inside is also somewhat what you feel about yourself. And that's because we are groomed and we're taught what to think of women. Even males are groomed to about what to think of women based off who their mother was and how their mother behaved and treated and what she instilled in them. Same for a daughter, though, and siblings. The way that they're going to view women is based off the characteristics, behavior of how their mother behaved and treated them, and same for their siblings. How, if they have female siblings, how their sisters behaved and treated them. That is where you gather that info that prepares you to say, this is how I'm going to show up in the world and look at other women. And I just believe mothers have given young ladies the wrong concept of how to view and feel about themselves, as well as how to view and feel about other women. And until we begin to really assess and make sure we don't make these mistakes as far as overtraining our daughters too early at an age, not protecting them, not nurturing them, not encouraging them, not supporting them, not feeding life into them, not being an avenue, a person who we can come to and they can trust us with their deepest thought, their deepest and darkest thoughts, feelings, experiences. And until they know they can trust us with them, with who they are as young women, they're not going to trust other young women, and the cycle may continue to where they show the same behaviors towards their daughter. And we need to heal this fractured relationship between mothers and daughters, because I've even seen that it crosses backgrounds, it crosses ethnicities, and it even crosses religions. We are talking on all continents across this globe, in all financial backgrounds, in all races, ethnicities, age gaps, and all that. A lot of women are experiencing this where their mother was not that first woman to be a protector or nurturer, someone who they can trust and confide in, someone who they could depend on, someone who they could rest in arms. And I don't understand why, especially when they clearly know how to do it, because they do it for their sons all the time. So what is this hate that women have against other women? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? How did it start? And why is it still going on? I would say to a lot of women, if you are having problems with your mother in any way, or even a sister, go, or if you have a daughter, and if y'all need to heal certain things, go and try and heal it. If you need to speak up and acknowledge wrong actions that you displayed, go and do that. If you, this is what's going to grow y'all bond and give it a fresh start, is if everyone come to the table and be honest. So daughters, I challenge you, go to your mothers, express to them anything that you feel was done, or any character that they displayed that harmed you or hurt you in any type of way. Have the courage and do it. You are grown. The most they can do is what they already been doing, which is technically a form of rejection. The most they can do is continue to reject you. The most they can do is be mad that you finally called them and spoke out to them about their bull crap. So I would challenge you, go and speak to your mother. If you are a mother and you have done any of these things against your daughter, go and own up for it and go speak with your daughter and say, here, I want us to have a conversation about this. That's the other problem with just mankind in general. We are not having the true and raw conversations that we should be having with each other on the stuff that truly matters, on the things that are being passed down from generation to generation and affecting us to our deepest core in our subconscious, whether we recognize it or not. And then we're trying to figure out, right, why am I like this? Why do I behave like this? Where is this coming from? And we don't even sit back and even assess our own lives and our own hearts and minds to be able to realize, like, oh, this came back from there. Or this came, like, because I'm going to give you an example of something that I have finally assessed and realized where it came from. I would not, I went years, I would not give myself permission to feel pain. I would not give myself permission to just sit in my raw emotions of pain and cry. I would not do it. Like, my eyes would water, no tears would come out. And I would easily, quickly after then just be like, no, it's good. I'm fine. Like, girl, chill out, right? So one day I was just trying to think, like, Alicia, why can't you just go ahead and release this pain? Give it the validation in life that it deserves. Because also crying is therapeutic, believe it or not. But then it took me back to when I was a little girl. My older brother, which he didn't do anything wrong, he was doing the best that he could as being a big brother, trying to find a way to nurture and help his little sister, right? But whenever I would cry, he would always tell me, stop crying, stop crying. You are right, you are right. It's good, everything's straight. You are right, stop crying. And that's when I look back, like, right, he used to tell me that. For years, he told me that when I was a little girl. And that had trained me to where that had became my ideology. And anytime I would feel like crying, that's what I would tell myself. Is I'd be like, no, you all right, stop crying. Don't, you better not cry. You good, you straight. It's good, it's straight. And that's what I would tell myself until one day, as I had began trying to do self-evaluation, self-healing, self-evolving, and stuff like that. I wanted to find out what was causing me to do that and say that. And then that's when the memories came back to when I was younger. I would fall, scrape my knee, I would get in trouble, or my sisters would be bullying me, picking on me and stuff, ostracizing me. And I would cry. That's what my brother would come say to me. He'd be like, you all right, stop crying, stop crying. And what he was doing was just doing the best thing he knew how to do to support me, because what men are normally told is they're not allowed to feel their emotions. They're told that they are right and to not cry. So, of course, his way of trying to support me was just telling me what he had been being taught. that's what he felt most comfortable with. So I realized, remember, like, that is where that came from. My brother told me that all the time, anytime I would cry. And now I have went years telling myself that. So I finally found out what was at the root of that issue. Cause like I would, even before I was able to stop myself from actually crying, before I would get so angry at myself if tears came down my eyes, and that was what it came from. But it was freeing, and then I began to allow myself to cry if I felt sad about something. I allowed myself to cry if they were happy tears, if I felt happy about something, and it was very therapeutic and a healthy realization for me. So I just wanted to use that one example of really breaking down and finding out where things are stemming from that you probably don't even remember anymore. But if you sit back and try and go back, you will realize what ended up training your brain or your heart or your behaviors to be a certain way. And a lot of it stems back to how we were raised or how we wasn't raised with our parents, of which I'm not here to beat up on parents. Guess what? I am a parent now. Parents make mistakes. They don't have a handbook to being a great parent. They are dealing with life as it comes, just like we are. Like, I am the mother of a 10-year-old now. This is my first time in life ever being a mother of a 10-year-old. I am not going to get everything right every step of the way. And I came to the realization about that with my parents. They were not going to get everything right every step of the way. So I also looked at the fact that a lot, as I got older and began to see things within them, and my grandparents began to hear stories and really assess how they were raised, then you realize they're dealing with their own trauma too. Your parent, your mother, 9 times out of 10 is reflecting what was shown to them and how they were treated. Sometimes, they have experienced traumatic experiences that shaped and made them the way that they are. So I do say that yes, we should cut our parents a bit of slack on in the areas where they might have failed us, and all we can do is try to do better for our own children, but forgive them for their errors. But that does not mean that you should not bring up certain things, especially if it's still going on or affected you in a huge way. Go and address these issues with your mother, or go and address these issues with your daughter, with your siblings, with your spouse, with your father, with any relationships that we have in life, because none of us is an island. We all are in this human experience together, and one of the best ways to get to healing, evolving, mending, getting clear understanding about things is through communication. Communication truly is very important and needed and therapeutic. It fosters for a greater bond. And we all know that when you open and have deep conversations with people, learn things that helps you to learn things about people, that helps give you an understanding about them, vice versa. It helps you to evolve your level of thinking, because now you're hearing someone else's perception or understanding about a particular thing, which then opens your eyes to another way of thinking or another way of looking at something. But also it creates a bond. When we have an intimate conversation about our thoughts or our feelings or things like that, it makes you feel closer to a person, and it allows you both to feel like, okay, we can take our friendship relationship to another level now, because now we just cracked through a wall that we've never went through before. So it makes relationships stronger, and I believe that we all need to do that, because that's how I looked at it. Like, you know what, I'm going into life now. I had decided some time ago, like, I'm going through life authentic. I am going to have the conversations that need to be had. I am going to state the feelings and views that I really think and feel, because even in relationships, sometimes we don't want to seem like we weak or vulnerable, so we won't even tell our spouse the truth. Like, look, you know what, that really hurt me. that made me feel insecure, or that made me feel abandoned, or that made me feel like, oh, you won't be here in the long run. Instead, the easiest emotion to display is anger. So we camouflage everything behind anger, which only makes things worse and makes a bigger disconnect, because since we won't say what we truly mean, that leaves the other people in these relationships or situations to have to speculate, to have to figure out what it is that you're upset about. And if they don't understand it, then that causes them to behave a certain way, because now they're not going to say their true thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Like, a lot of problems that we as humans have is all due to misunderstandings, not asking questions, not stating how we feel. And all of our lives will be, and all of our relationships will be a lot healthier, a lot more clear, if we all just told the truth about what we think, how we feel, and ask the questions that we truly want to know the answer to. I believe it's pride in a form of trying to protect our emotions and feelings that causes us to do that. And I'm not sure if any of y'all have experienced it yet, but one day in life, if you don't change, turn that around right now, you're going to look back at something and regret that you didn't say how you truly felt, that you didn't apologize for that wrongdoing, that you didn't acknowledge this situation. But it'll definitely be better, because and plus, if you go ahead and say, I'm going to remove my pride out the way, and I'm going to be willing to be vulnerable to this person, because I'm not going to deny my feelings and my mind. No, I'm going to give them validation, because I deserve. That's the other thing you need to realize. You deserve to be heard. Your thoughts, your feelings deserve to be heard, and deserve by you first to give them acknowledgement. And what the other person does with it or not, that's not your concern. Do yourself justice, though, by sharing and expressing that. And trust me, a person who loves you, even if they're angry at that moment, or don't even know how to respond in that moment, as they're able to sit on what it is that you said, trust me, they will come around. But it'll also make them feel like, okay, now I understand and see how you feel and how you think, and I'm going to respect what you think and how you felt going forward. But I didn't know that that was what that did to you, or that was how that made you feel, or this is what you had needed. And now that they know that, now they can be a better spouse to you, and or a better parent to you, or a better sibling or friend to you. And you can also be that for them as well. But we first have to realize that when we do not speak our true pain, our true thoughts, feelings, when we don't give them voice, we are muting ourselves. We are rejecting ourselves. We are subconsciously devaluing ourselves, and then we project it onto the other person as they're the one doing it, when it's not the other people. It's us already doing it to ourselves, not even giving other people a chance to acknowledge or validate our feelings, thoughts, or needs. So that's the first thing we need to do, and that's why I say go and have these hard conversations. And if you can't initially start it out with verbally talking face to face with someone, if this feels better to you initially to say, okay, well, here I'm going to write this, or I'm going to text this, then do that. Start out that way, but begin to give yourself permission to have the thoughts and feelings that you do, and then give yourself permission and respect and validation to say these deserve to be heard. Okay? That's what I want us to do, and that's what I had decided for myself, and that's what I have been preaching and telling other people to do. And you can even initially start talking to yourself first. Start to go in the mirror and just by yourself and say what it is that you think and what you feel and need to say, so your ears can get accustomed to hearing your voice speak your truth. You know, do it that way initially. And then hopefully it will get easier to you. It will help build your confidence. It would also, just speaking it will bring relief and take a strain off your heart, your soul, your spirit, because it now feels like you're giving it what it deserved and needed and wanted all along, which was for its voice to be heard, for it to be out there. So speak it, speak it, speak it. If you have to start by first saying, okay, Let me look in the mirror and speak it myself. Or if you don't want to look in the mirror, you don't have to look in the mirror to do it. But let me do this. Matter of fact, start out in the morning. If you're a person who has always rejected your own thoughts and feelings and never have allowed them to have a voice, I think that you should start in the morning each day with self affirmations and make sure that you put in that self affirmation. My thoughts, feelings. Because I tell my son to say this in the morning. I be having him do affirmations. But anyway, yeah, say to yourself, my feelings, my thoughts are powerful. They are valuable and they deserve to be heard. I will speak my truth and share my truth and be authentic in all my relationships and in everything that I choose to do. Or whatever it is, how you want to do it, what you want to say. It is your right and your prerogative to do that. Whatever it is, however it is you want to say it. And give yourself those validations. And then say what it is that you need to say to yourself first. Write it down. Send it in a text. Speak to these people. Be vulnerable with other human beings, okay? Be vulnerable with yourself. You can trust yourself. And you can trust others. And guess what? You can handle any hurt that comes your way. Remind yourself that too. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be honest with this person. And if they meet me with rejection or if they meet me with anger, I can handle that. I'm not going to crumble and die in that moment. I will be just fine because you will. You will be just fine. And guess what? More importantly, you don't know if that's what they will meet you with. That's what you've already told yourself. That doesn't mean that will be the outcome or case. Okay? So, go have these important conversations. Let's try and be better towards other women, starting with being better towards our daughters. That would actually be the most important thing that we could do to turn around the interactions women have in creating a true sisterhood of trust, of compassion, of unity, of support, of encouragement. Okay, let's do that. And because I just don't understand why us as women, it is so sad to me and just mind-boggling that mothers are leading the threat against girls. They are leading the bullying against girls. They are leading the name calling against girls. And they're doing it all starting with their daughters. And it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. Their daughter should be able to trust you with her heart. Should be able to trust you with her feelings, her emotion, her dreams, her body, her self-image. And you have mothers out here calling their daughters bitches and hoes, calling them fast, making them feel bad about their body, about who they are, not being supportive and wanting them to chase their dreams and succeed.